Hello. Today we're going to be working with writing equations of lines, and we're going to be using the point slope formula and the standard form of writing linear equations or even linear functions. We're going to be doing these from real-world situations. So when a word problem involves a constant rate or a speed and a beginning amount, it can be written in the slope-intercept form, which is the y equals mx plus b. To do this, recognize which number will represent the slope, which is also called the rate, and which number will represent the b, or the y-intercept. When we are doing this, it's a good idea to identify and define your variables. So that's why this is included as part of the problem. Okay? So we're going to write an equation for each problem, and we're going to answer each equation to show all work. And this one we're going to be writing in the slope-intercept form of y equals mx plus b. It says you are visiting Baltimore, Maryland, and a taxi company charges a flat fee of $3 for using the taxi and 75 cents per mile. Model the total cost of this situation. So I see that I have money, and then I have miles. And so I need to determine what is going to be my x value and what is going to be my y value. Well, when I look at this, I see that it charges a flat fee of $3 for using the taxi. So just to get in the taxi and for him to turn on his clock, it's going to cost $3. So that's our initial value, okay? And then I see that I have 75 cents per mile. Well, this is telling me that I'm going to be multiplying it by something. And so I'm going to be multiplying it by the miles. So that is going to be my x. So it's going to be the number of miles. For my y, if it's charging me an initial fee of $3 and 75 cents per mile, the y is going to stand for the total cost for the trip. So total cost in dollars. Okay? So now we figured out what our y and our x is going to be, and now we can put it together in an equation. Because I know that this is my initial, this is going to be my b. And because I'm multiplying this times every mile, this is my rate. And so this is going to be my slope. So when I write my equation, y equals, my rate is 75 cents per mile, and we said we're using x for miles, with initial fee of $3. So there's my equation, y equals 75 hundredths x plus 3. So now they want to know how much would the taxi ride for 8 miles cost. And so if I want to know for 8 miles, which one was miles? Was that x or was that y? That was x. So I'm going to substitute 8 in for x. So I have y equals 75 hundredths times 8 plus 3. So I'm going to solve to find out what y is by taking 75 hundredths times 8 and then adding 3 to it. And that gives us 9. So it's going, this is 6 plus 3, y equals 9. So it's going to cost $9. If the taxi ride cost $15, how many miles did the taxi travel? Well, in this case, we're looking for if the cost was 15, what is the number of miles? So 15 would stand in place of the x or the y. If you said y, you're correct. So it's going to be $15 equals 75 hundredths x plus 3. And now we're going to solve for x. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. And then I'm going to divide 12 by 75 hundredths. And that gives me 16. So the taxi went 16 miles. Logistically, does that seem about right? If 8 miles was $9, $15 would be more miles than 8, right? And so 16 is definitely more. Okay. This one's using the point slope form. When a forward problem involves a constant rate of speed and gives a relationship at some point in time between each variable, an equation can be written in point slope form to model the relationship. And remember, the point slope is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So that means I need to know a slope and at least 1 point to work with. So let's identify our variables. When on vacation in Washington, D.C., the cab ride for Dulles Airport to the hotel is 15 miles. The total cost of the cab ride is $22.50. The cabbie charges $1.50 per mile for the entire trip. So I have money and I have miles again. And I do see that I have this $1.50 per mile. And so this is going to be my slope. It does not say that he charges an initial fee, so it doesn't look like we have a y-intercept at this point. We also know that at 15 miles, the total cost was $25.50. If this is my x, and this is my y, so x is the number of miles, and y is the total cost. So now I need to come up with my equation. Well, I know this is x, and I know this is y, so there's my ordered pair of 15 and $25.50. And my slope is $1.50. Using this information, I can use my point slope form and write my equation. So it's going to be y minus $25.50 equals my $1.50 times x minus 15. So there's my equation. They want to know what is the flat rate that the cab charges. So the flat rate, that's my initial rate. They didn't give it to us up here, but they're asking for it here. So one way to do this is to just simplify this equation down into the slope-intercept form, and that'll help us find our y-intercept. So let's take our equation, y minus $25.50 equals $1.50 times x minus 15. I'm going to distribute my $1.50. Times it's $22.50. Now I'm ready to start simplifying, and so I can move my $25.50 over to this side by adding it. So I take that gives me y equals $1.50, x plus $2.50. So what is the flat rate? So how much are they charging just to get in the taxi cab and for them to turn on the time? You're right, it is the $2.50. So $2.50 is the initial cost for the taxi drive. How much does it cost to travel 7 miles in the cab? Well, 7 miles, and we said that miles is x, so I'm going to replace x with 7. You can use either this form or you can use this form. Either one is fine. I prefer this one because it's a little simpler. So it's $1.50 times 7 plus 250. And so if I put that in my calculator, I get 1050 plus 250, and that gives me $13. So the cost for 7 miles in this cab is going to cost $13. All right, let's take a look at the next one. The math department sponsors a math family fun night each year. In the first year, there were 35 participants. In the third year, there were 57 participants. And this is all it's giving us. And they want us to still use the point slope form. So I need to have a slope, and I need to have one ordered pair. Okay? When I look at this, it is telling me my first year information, and it's telling me my third year information. So I would say that my X is going to be my number of years, and my Y is going to be the number of participants, or total participants. So X is going to be the number of years, and Y is going to be the number of participants. So I can use this. My X is my years, so this is my X, and this is my Y, and this is my X, and this is my Y. So I have two ordered pairs. So in the first one, I have 135, and in my third year, I have 357. So I need to have a slope and a point. Well, I have 2 points. I need a slope. So I'm going to use these two, and I'm going to find my slope. That's 22 divided by 2, and that's 11. So my slope is 11, and then I can pick either one of these points. It doesn't matter which one. So let's say I use the first one. So my equation is going to be y minus 35 equals 11 times x minus 1. If I use the other ordered pair, I would have had y minus 57 equals 11 times x minus 3. Either one's fine. Both will get you the same answer. All right, so what year is it predicted that they are going to have 112 participants? So the total number of participants would be 112. And so they want to know when we would have 112. 112 is your participants, so it's going to be your Y. So this is going to be your Y. And there's a couple of ways you could do this. You could slide 112 into this equation and solve for X, or you can simplify down to the slope-intercept form and plug in 112 for Y there as well. But we're just going to go ahead and use this one for this time. So Y is 112. We're going to subtract 35 from it. Equals 11 times x minus 1. I can distribute here. That's 11x minus 11. And 112 minus 35 is 77. Now I'm going to simplify for x. So I'm going to add 11 to both sides. This becomes 88. Divide both sides by 11, and x equals 8. So what year will they have 112 participants? In year 8. How many participants are predicted for the 5th year? Well, remember, this was participants, and this one's asking for the 5th year. So this is going to be our x. Again, plug it into the equation. So y minus 35 equals 11 times 5 minus 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. 4 times 11 is 44. I want to get y by itself, so I'm going to add 35 to both sides. And that gives me 79. So there are 79 participants in the 5th year. Okay. We're going to come back and do standard form in the next video. If you have any questions about these two, please make sure you check with your teacher.